today's spotlight, we have Little River Community School. Little River is based in Canton, New York, which is really close to the Canadian border, and has about 40 students at the moment enrolled in the school. Together with the 4 staff members, they direct their own learning. What was really fascinating is that each individual student has their own curriculum, which they set out together with their parents and their teachers. At Little River, students are helped to develop self-reliance, confidence, and self-motivation, rather than being motivated by external rewards. They're really driven students, and Mark and I had the chance to visit Little River and enjoy the video that we shot.
So tell us a little bit about the Little River Community School. Maybe start a little with its history.
Okay. We started in about 1999, so what are we, 15, 16 years here now. Started with 4 students, of which 2 of them lived on the farm here and 2 others. At the end of that first year we had 12 students, and then we've grown slowly. Since then we're probably about 40 students. There's probably a couple of levels, but the kids have a lot of say in what they do here. They have a lot of voice in forming their own curriculum.
And we have a lot more interaction with other grades. Like, I'm able to see that, even though I'm in 9th grade, I'm able to see the kindergartners every day, interact with them, play with them during breaks, and the whole school is able to do things together.
We do have sort of a background schedule. A couple of days a week we have a morning meeting with all of the students and staff together. The students run that. Sometimes those meetings might be just announcements in a song, and other times it might be planning for the NADAC conference or working through any issues that that come on the table. We have 3 sort of academic periods, and we've got different ages. So we've got kids that are 5 here, and we've got kids that are 16 and 17 here. So there is differences of schedules, but in general we've got sort of 3 academic periods. Goes from about 8:15 to 10 o'clock, and we divide into 3 groups. We call them affectionately sort of youngers, middles, and olders. In terms of the 3 periods, it really depends upon the class. We got sort of 3 time periods, but there may be more than 1 class that will happen in that time period. I'd say in the younger class there might be 15 things that will happen in one of those hour periods, and in the older class maybe 2 kinds of classes and activities. For the high school students, they do have sort of that traditional distribution of classes of needing some English and some social studies and some math or things like that. But in terms of how we do that, we've got lots of latitude in that. In terms of our social studies classes, we'll poll the kids and see what it is that they want to study in social studies, and we'll form a class around that. In the first couple of weeks we'll get to know particularly a new kid, kind of informally assess what their skill levels are and interests and things like that. But after a couple of weeks we would basically go to that kid and say, what is it you want to learn this year? And whatever, depending upon the age and their interests, they could get a whole wide range of answers to that questions. Some young person might say, I want to learn how to make fairy houses, and I had one kid that wanted to learn about cowboys, and then other kids might want more traditional. I want to learn trigonometry, I want to learn whatever. So that's the starting part of our curriculum. The staff, the teachers also have things that they're excited about, so they'll kind of pipe in with things that they're excited about. And then we'll sit down with the parents and hear what's important to the parents. And so sort of everybody has an individualized conference with the parents, teachers, and students there, and that's where the curriculums are, individualized curriculums are formed.
Wow.
Yeah, we're more in charge of our own education. Yeah, and we're able to choose our curriculum, choose what we want to do. It's not like we have specific okay, this semester we're gonna learn this. We do have that, but it's everyone gets to decide. In the older class, when we're deciding what we're gonna do for our next social studies unit. We all get together, we all talk about what we would like to do, and then we were able to come to a consensus about, it's not just like when you're in 8th grade you do World War II. So yeah, and it just makes you feel like you're really in charge of your own education, which is...
I personally would say kind of the individuality. For a lot of places that have kind of one set curriculum, everyone goes through the same experience. They learn the exact same things, they do the same things, they have the same classes, whatever. At Little River, it's such a different experience for each person, because for me at least, what I like to do is I like to learn about history, so I kind of do in-depth history projects, but I can also connect, I do web development, so I tie that in with my education here as well.
How does it work with kids who are leaving the school, so the high school kids who are leaving 16, 17, 18 years old that want to go on to college?
We're ungraded. We don't use we don't give grades for kindergarten through 8th grade. Nor do we really use, I'm on the 3rd grade level, I'm on the 5th grade level. We're really just starting kids where they're at. And, in some cases they might be at a skill level older than their peers, and other kids might be younger than their peers or something like that. So we don't pay too much attention to what grade they're in. For the high school, it is a little bit different because there are some formal graduating requirements, just class distributions and stuff like that. And then we found attaching a grade made that easier for some of the students to apply to the school. So they would get that same narrative progress report, but we would also attach a grade. And that grade is also negotiated, primarily between the student and the teacher. I'd say probably half of our kids maybe have never been in a public school, and then the other half have, spent some years in a public school and then came here. I'd kind of say in the broadest sense that I would say about 1/3 of our kids come because they pretty fully embrace our philosophy, and then maybe 1/3 of our kids arrived here because they were in a school that didn't work out for them previously. And then maybe another 1/3 of our kids come here because what we call them satellite students that come and do part of their program here and part of their program at home.
Well, the public school near us, they've just been converting to the Common Core education, which has complicated things for some students. Also, they've, in general, had a few issues with bullying, especially in the middle school. So oftentimes when we get people here coming around, usually 5th or 6th grades, they've either had trouble with kind of their education, not being able to really keep up or kind of get involved in their education, or they've had issues with bullying, interpersonal relationships in their school, and so they've come here kind of, seek refuge, and it helps. I know we've had kids who came here because they were having trouble in the public school system. We also have kids with learning disabilities who aren't able to get the help they need from local schools.
I'd say we've got a couple kids that have severe learning disabilities, make it really impossible or hard to, read or write. A couple kids that have some language challenges. Some of these kids get special services. Some of the families choose not to get the special services because they'd have to, go off campus to get those services. Certainly a couple accelerated kids as well, so it's kind of mixed.
We're such a small school that everyone knows each other. Like, not only can I name everyone in school, easily I could do that, but I can name 3 things that they enjoy doing or how long they've been coming here. We all know each other well. Everyone, we're all friends. Doesn't matter what your interests are, how old you are, what class you're in. We're all friends and we care about each other. So that makes it easy to fix things because, people care. When people care, things happen.
Yeah.
When I left school, or even in the last years of my high school years, I didn't feel confident. I didn't really feel like I know what I'm going to do. I didn't know where were my passions. And going to Little River, I was amazed by the students and how much they knew who they were and how they were just standing in the world confidently and knowing what their interests were, what they're passionate about. They were able to communicate those things easily with anybody, with the youngest child there or us, strangers that they've just met.
I was amazed by how well they got along and worked together. You know, when they were doing things and things started to go awry and required like adjustment, you know, that's a place often adults start to bicker with each other and vent frustration out into the world. And I saw them really rolling with things a lot and working together well a lot of the time.
And I think it's interesting in this kind of setting, they're able to play off each other's ideas and each other's abilities, basically. And in a public school, you wouldn't have time for that, because with the standardized testing curriculum, you're just pushing through all that information, not allowing knowledge to just flow freely and kind of spitball ideas and build off of each other.
That sense of rush that's always
Right,
there
exactly.
in the public schools.
They even called it the year 2016 was the year of American Sign Language, because one of the kids found an interest in it, brought it to school, and it was just a roll that kept on rolling, a ball that kept on rolling, sorry. And so many of the kids were then into it that when we came, they showed us a play completely in sign language. It was fantastic to watch.
It was incredible that one person's interest spurred all of this, rather than someone bringing it in and it just being their own. The community embraced it, and the way they handled all aspects of that show, imagining the audience who doesn't know American Sign Language still being able to communicate to them with a series of placards combined with the sign language and the acting, it was just inspiring to see. So Little River Community School, a small school trying out some non-traditional approaches in a small community in a way that seems to be really working for kids, making connections, forming the bonds that allow the basis for deep learning.